Greetings and welcome everyone to my Bit.Trip Runner one-way trip. In this episode of One-Way Trip, we'll be exploring this game called Bit.Trip Runner. Bit.Trip Runner is a 2.5D platformer game where you play as this little guy named Commander Video. Say hello, Commander Video. Hello! And then we take our role as him and we do a little bit of rhythm platforming action. A rhythm platformer is basically Guitar Hero mixed with Mario, and they had a baby, and this is kind of what the baby would look like. So it's quite an interesting looking baby if you ask me. Basically you just jump around, make some sounds, and rock out. It's pretty interesting but very difficult. One hit kills you. Because if you miss one hit, or you're like one jump, you're dead. That's it. Back to the start. I haven't tried it out on easy difficulty, but this is just on normal difficulty, and it's pretty damn tough. That was also my first try playing that level in a long time. I'm surprised I managed to do it so well, but it is an early level in a game. I was one way off of getting the bonus round, damn it. So there's a lot of levels in this game. You can, yeah, that's World 2. Let's show you World 1. One that you've probably seen quite a bit of if you've watched anything about this. Okay, let's look at it. Yep, see, there's lots of varied environments, which is a good thing, because if you were just in the same environment for ages and ages, well, it's going to get boring after a while, isn't it? Yeah, of course it is. But thankfully, they knew this, and they were like, hey guys, let's change the environments once every zone. You got that? And they're like, okay guy, you bring up a good thing, we'll do that. Also, the art, bam, 2.5D. Isn't that amazing? It's not just regular 2D, it's not 3D, it's 2.5D. That's a half dimension more than 2D, and that's a half a dimension less than 3D, just in case you didn't know that. But I like it. It's pretty damn good. And you probably couldn't tell that at first, because if you were just looking at Commander Video and how he's all, you know, 2 colors and that's it. But it's a very good looking game. The graphics are astoundingly good. Well, not really astoundingly good. They're pretty good. The aesthetics of the game are really nice, and everything has this weird out-of-world kind of look to it. It doesn't look normal, and that's good, because the game, it's very not normal, unusual, even one could say. And that's pretty damn awesome. It's good when a game is unique like this. But it also is good when a game has good gameplay. And thankfully, this game has good gameplay as well. It's unique, it has good gameplay. Ah! I love it. Might as well buy it right now. Here, take my money. Here's $20. You can have it. The game doesn't even cost $20, you can have it regardless. But there are also something called boss fights. Basically, throughout the zones, you've got this one sort of attack that will be repeated to you, and you'll have to avoid it constantly. Like, in this zone, it's meatballs. Meatballs come flying at you all the time. You're like, whoa, a meatball's coming at me, what do I do? And you've got to avoid it. You've got to either jump over or you've got to duck under it. And so now the boss is like, hey, guess what I've got for you? I've got some meatballs. And so he's just spamming meatballs at you. He's like, have some of my meatballs. And you're like, I don't want any meatballs. And so what basically ends up happening is you just got to keep running until you can kick his face in. And then you'll be like, ha, screw you, guy. This is what you get for sending me meatballs. But it takes quite a bit to send him the message that you don't want any meatballs. And by sending him the message, I mean kill him. So you got to keep dodging his meatballs until he's dead, and it's really quite a good boss fight. Most boss fights in games are, you know, just generic enemies, but souped up, so they take like a bajillion more bullets. It's like, oh yeah, sure, that's fun, guy. But in this, it's like, we're gonna put everything you've learned into one fight, and then make sure that you know that you're ready for the next zone. And then when the next zone comes around, they'll play a nice little cutscene like this. Basically, Bit.Trip Runner is a great rhythm platformer where you just jump around, you dodge meatballs, and then you master techniques. The game also makes sure to introduce new mechanics every new zone or so, or every new half zone really, to make sure that it doesn't get stale, because if you're just jumping around, it gets stale. But Bit.Trip Runner knows this, and he's like, hey, guy, gamer, you want some new mechanics? Here you go, some new mechanics. Whipped them up in the kitchen just for you. You're welcome. And you're like, well, thank you, Bit.Trip Runner. That's awfully nice. Holy shit, I beat it. Wow, okay, that's good. And you're like, Bit.Trip Runner, thank you. You know what I want as a gamer. You are amazing. You are basically the greatest rhythm platformer ever made. And I can't wait until Bit.Trip Runner next one, because this is in a long-running series of Bit.Trip games. Bit.Trip Runner is actually the 4th game in the Bit.Trip series. The more you know, children. But thank you for sticking around for the first episode of One Way Trip. I hope you enjoyed it, and be sure to subscribe to 8-Bit Anarchy, and GG.